Welcome to another episode of Nerd Out. I'm Randy, this is Brian, and the birthday celebration of goodies just keeps going. Thanks to my wonderful friends, Andy, and I got this MAFEX Boba Fett. I said it in a plural way, like my friends.
Yeah, your friends Andy.
Yeah, well, because I was gonna say I was gonna thank Nick for the
he comes later.
The Jango Fett, but we'll get into that. But he got me the MAFEX Boba Fett, and I mean, first and foremost, like MAFEX, they're sort of like there's Star Wars Black series, and then figure arts, and then the MAFEX. I think the SH figure arts has been my preferred line to collect. Star Wars Black are like if I just like need a quick fix at Toys R Us, because like they're not terrible, but they're kind of like junky American toys. The MAFEX is kind of like the question mark, because their stuff looks pretty good, but I don't know. We opened one at Nick's.
History of falling apart.
Absolutely. Like, we opened up a Batman and literally like fell apart.
And it wasn't just pieces falling off. He broke in half.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
That was tough. And all of it's done it. And this really needed to be good. Because people were worried about, well, if they mess up Boba Fett, you know.
Yeah, you're fucked.
People are done.
You can't, I mean, Boba Fett is like, I don't know if there's another character in like any sort of like, you know, that's sexier than Boba Fett. Nope. Like, I mean, he just looks good. Like, you can't even a bad one generally looks good. You know, I mean, he's a sexy looking
popular
character.
guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And you know, and then you know what that you just speaking of MAFEX, that new Superman versus Batman.
That is the worst figure I've ever seen.
It's got orange face. It's got an orange face.
I just don't think it looks anything.
I don't think it looks good.
Like Henry Cavill or
right. It's not good.
Ugly. That is the ugliest figure I've ever
Definitely.
seen.
So you know, and I was reading reviews of the Boba Fett. This is now a fairly old figure, and when I mean old, I mean like maybe like 2 weeks old. And people didn't seem very enthusiastic about it. They were like, yeah, it's a good Boba Fett. I'm going to disagree. I think it's actually a pretty phenomenal Boba Fett.
I think it's a great Boba Fett. What's better?
I don't understand yeah, exactly. Like, I don't understand what people have been, like, the sort of reviews I watched were like, yeah, this is good, but it's not great. Like, I'll be honest with you, like, I rather love it. It's my only, okay, I have a couple complaints. One is this wire looks like it's gonna break.
Okay.
And this is where we'll bring in the Jango Fett, the SH Figure Arts Jango Fett. This is from Nick for my birthday. Thank you. I love this figure. They use this wonderful, like wiring that's like a old GI Joe hoses, and it feels much more flexible. And then my only other complaint about that Boba Fett, and this isn't a complaint, but I like the SH Figure Arts scale. Like, I've decided that this is the scale I want my figures in. That Boba Fett is almost like on the large side of like a 6-inch figure.
Yeah, is he bigger than the black?
Yeah, I think he is.
He is a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so, and Boba Fett is a relative, like, I think he's probably like, he was like 5'10", 5'11".
I think he was
a man.
sort of my height.
Yeah,
like, not tall, but not a midget.
Right,
you know?
Absolutely. But, I mean, he definitely was on the shorter scale of bounty hunters. And he comes out a little large. And again, like, my big thing is I do like the figure arts scale. Like, I prefer the sort of small 6-inch scale.
I hear you.
I do. And that is not.
This is still the best Boba Fett, though,
great.
Without a doubt.
It's great.
I mean, this thing's awesome.
It is.
The paint is gorgeous. Like, look at it. They did that perfect.
Yeah. The brown on the boots looks really good.
On the boots. I mean, I think this thing's the shit.
I do too. I really like it. You know what also I kind of like about it? Like, I probably am not going to... This probably isn't going to start me on a collection of MAFEX. To be honest with you, my Star Wars collecting has become more sporadic because I just cannot own it all.
It's too much. There's way too much.
But this is my standalone Boba Fett. Like, I like the fact it's like it's a little bit bigger. It doesn't really go with anything, but it can go with stuff. Like, if you want this to be part of your Star Wars Black series, it'll work. Obviously, it is a little too bulky for Jango over here. Yeah. But I think it's a pretty spectacular figure. I kind of have some issues. I don't know if issues is the word. the way the inside of the elbow joints look, it looks a little mechanical.
Give you that.
And then
Love the paint. Though.
yeah, the paint is spectacular. One other issue is the wrist joints. I'm not crazy about it. They sort of like separate like that. Like their ball joints split in half. I could see that becoming a problem.
I guess the whole thing is like, what do you collect? Mafex or figure arts? Where do you draw that line of like which one to collect? Because you're not going to collect both, you know. But
right.
But they're both similar caliber toys. It's just
agree.
weird that they make both. Like, how do you know if you're fresh into this? Which ones did you start collecting? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it is personal preference. Like, I'll be honest with you, if you're not a slave to the 6-inch Star Wars Black figures, if you're not trying to fill holes in your Star Wars Black series, I'm going to tell you to go with SH Figure Arts. They're cleaner. Their quality is 100%. Like, no breakage. It's just not going to happen. And they are, like, the perfect representation of the characters. And they just are, like, the perfect action figure.
I like the weight on them.
I like
the weight.
They do feel good.
They're very hard to plastic.
Yes. This MAFEX one, like, stay away from Rebel Tech. I'm not a fan of Rebel Tech, and I'm flat out say that I think those things are ugly. I know that new Deadpool just came out, and it looks like a fun figure to play with, but in a neutral, and I don't have it, so I'm basing it just on photos. But if you just put it in neutral, those articulation joints, they're just too ugly for me. Like, I stay away from Rebel Tech. I hated the fact that they did C-3PO, and I'm sorry. C-3PO has to be vac metal, right? He's got to be a shiny metal.
Yeah.
You can't do...
They didn't do it.
No, and like, that's considered a high-end figure. I get it when the I don't get it, because I don't want to give Hasbro a pass for making inferior products.
But they're $20.
Yeah, I guess so. But but like, I guess I can pass that. But a Rebel Tech's going to cost you $70. It's just unacceptable. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's the detail and the paint on this spectacular. If you're not, if you haven't picked an allegiance to what you're collecting Star Wars, and you just want Boba Fett, because Boba Fett is one of the coolest looking characters.
He's standalone.
Standalone?
You know? Even in the series, he's standalone. People might not even be into Star Wars, but they know Boba Fett.
Yeah, absolutely. He's cool. He is just cool. I think this is a solid Boba Fett. I think you'll be happy with it. Now, talk price. I actually think the prices retail is reasonable. I think it was like, let's say, around the $50 to $60 mark. However, it's Boba Fett. People want them. I think you're looking at about $85 right now, because it's secondary prices. I think it's beautiful. Did I bring the stand? He comes with like a cool...
No, I get it.
The box is boring.
Let me see it.
It's boring. While you look at that box, this is something I do appreciate in this.
Sort of like it though.
You do?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
I
fine.
like boring boxes though. I don't like boxes that are too busy.
Yeah. He comes with this. Like, I do appreciate this. For most Star Wars figures, I don't think of like a dynamic stand is probably necessary. And to be honest with you, Boba Fett, other than like launching into the air.
But you know what? Because you think about Jango Fett, and then you want to do it with him, so you sort of like. I think it's like.
Man, this.
But you never see him do shit.
No, you don't do him. You know, he just stands there. But it does. It is fun. It adds it adds some great. You have to tighten.
Speaking of, we want to get philosophical. Just a character discussion. Does Jango Fett enhance Boba Fett for you?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Why would he enhance?
Because you sort of like, now you can put Boba Fett in action poses and stuff because you saw Jango do it in episode 2.
No, actually, I think it's the opposite.
I agree. I missed the mystery.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what's making me nervous about this Han Solo movie, is that instead of enhancing the character of Han Solo, I think they're going to give me more information than I need to know. And I think it's going to take away the mystique of the character and that. So, I mean, I think that's what Jango Fett did to Boba Fett. I think it cheapened Boba Fett.
And you know what? I don't know where I'm at with that, but now it's so far away and removed. I mean, Star Wars are 40 years old.
Yeah.
Does it even matter? Like what we thought. I mean, it's
right,
sort of like,
right. I see what you're saying.
They're not irrelevant. They spawned all this, but in the big picture, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I agree with what I'm saying.
As the world grows bigger, all those little things become
do
less,
they matter?
Yeah, they don't matter. It doesn't like
when they made the movie, they didn't know 40 years later people would make careers
Right.
around these movies, and like their livelihood would depend on it.
It's an industry of its own.
Yeah,
Star Wars is an industry of its own.
Yeah.
I think Jango Fett. Going back to that, Jango Fett. He looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
This figure, by the way, is great. Thank you again, Nick. I think his head sits a little short, low.
Yeah.
Does it look like that to you, or is
a
it
little
just
bit? Do his shoulder pads go down?
his shoulder pads?
I mean, do
but
his midsection, like, I don't.
what do you mean?
This does that go down?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't think it. Oh no. Like, there's no way. Like, I mean, I guess like the design of the helmet probably would fit like that.
Yeah, it looks like it's clanking on his.
Yeah, just it looks a little weird, but
breastplate.
But that's an absolutely beautiful picture. Just like
incredible.
the cleanliness of the lines is just incredible. But look, if you want the creme de la creme, I think Figure Arts is the way to go. But we're talking Boba Fett. This Boba Fett hits everything for me. I don't have any issues with it. To be honest with you, it feels really solid too. Like, did you notice that?
Yeah, it's solid. It's tight.
Tight.
I mean, and even when the wrists loosen up, you can still push them back in, and they tighten right up. You know.
I think it's a must-have figure. Like, even if you have already, like, if you have the Star Wars Black Boba Fett, which is fine.
Doesn't count, though. This is way better.
Well, definitely, but this is also, but, like, that was a good figure, right?
That's a great figure, yeah.
But if you just, even if you are, you just need a Boba Fett, and you have the money to spend, I don't really understand how you would be disappointed. I love it.
And he's really thin, I like how thin he is.
Yeah. He's big. That's the
He's
one
tall.
thing. He is tall. I wish I had any of the other Mafex figures to kind of compare the height. But like, is the Vader like a good like half-inch taller than this figure? Do you think?
I would hope so.
Yeah, because I mean, this is a big figure. I love it as a standalone figure. This is the Boba Fett you need. If you, like I said, if you're not like a Star Wars completist where you pick the line, this is a perfectly good shelf. I don't know that there's a better one.
Yeah, there really is. What else? What are your options? This guy?
The Star Wars Black. I guess if you want to get into Hot Toy stuff, but that's like a different world,
that's different,
right?
though.
That doesn't count, right? Yeah, so I mean, I guess that's it. That's the best Boba Fett, and I think it's good. Yeah, I thank you, Andy and Nick. I mind blown. I just wonderful time. So check out the Mafex if you can get it. I think it's secondary prices now, but if it isn't and you find one, or even if you want to, it's substantial figure. It's good. It's gold. It's Boba Fett. Please subscribe. Please like us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And until next time,
Nerd out!
The real sexiest Star Wars character.